We all know someone who just seems lucky. Opportunities seem to just find them, and things always seem to work out for them. It's easy to look at that and think, some people are just lucky, and some people just aren't. And that is exactly how I used to be. I was convinced that those of us that had good intentions always seemed to just be dealt a bad hand. And my life seemed to echo that. It always felt like I was the one who was left out, the one who just missed out on things. And it just seemed like life was out to get me. 10 years later, and I am still very much me and the same person. But people now call me lucky. They view me and my life and the opportunities that I get as something that is not possible for them. But the secret truth is, at no point did I just wake up one morning and find life suddenly on my side. I created luck. I made myself a lucky person, and it's actually much easier than you think. In this video, I want to break down exactly what I did and how you can actually increase luck in your own life starting today. So if you're ready for that, let's dive in. Luck isn't random, it's a pattern. And like any pattern, once you understand it, you can learn it. So here are my 5 steps to becoming a lucky person. Number 1, what you focus on, you find more of. So 10 years ago, I, again, was the same person as you see here today, but life felt different. I constantly noticed the times where I was left out, where things didn't go the way that I wanted them to. I was so fixated on almost proving that I was unlucky, proving that things didn't go my way. And that sounds extreme, but there's a good chance you're doing that too. Whenever we have a belief about something, whether that is that we're unlucky, or whether it's that we will never be successful, or that we are not good at making friends, or we always attract the bad guy, whatever beliefs you have, you will most likely have some beliefs that are making you less lucky. Let me explain further. Lucky people don't necessarily experience more good things. Their life could be the exact same as someone else's, but the thing that makes them lucky is what they focus on. So we imagine 2 identical people in an identical situation, an identical life. One of them is constantly focused on the ways in which they feel trapped in their life, the ways in which everything's man-made and there's no nature anymore. The other person finds the nearby park. When they're walking along the street, their surroundings just feel brighter. When they see graffiti on a wall, where person A might be thinking, oh, damn kids ruining the streets and making everything look less nice. Whereas person B might be thinking, wow, that is so impressive and so creative that there are kids around here that can do things like that. Exactly the same thing they're looking at, but completely different ways of approaching it. Now, take that person and put them into a conversation later that evening with their parents or some friends. Person A is saying, yeah, since we moved here, we're really not impressed with the area. There's graffiti everywhere, kids doing God knows what, and all the nature that we thought was here has been taken over by flats and offices. Person B, meanwhile, talks to their family and friends saying, it is just such a vibrant area. There's more flats going up, so many more people moving to the area, which just really reminds us that this is an up-and-coming area. But yet, there's still beautiful places you can go for walks, and so much you can see when you go for a walk. Same situation, same place. But one is viewing it as dreary and grey and like a place you kind of want to avoid. And the other person is viewing where they live as somewhere that is full of colour, vibrancy, and so exciting and joyful. That is not a skill that you are born with or down to the eyes that you were given when you were born as to what you see. It's a mindset that you can train. So like me, I used to focus on the things that I didn't like, the moments where someone didn't include me in something. Now, I focus on the people that love me. I focus on the opportunities I do get. I just talk about them more. And it was just so funny to me how the first year I started doing this work and really immersing myself in this positive mindset, doing 10 gratitudes a day for a month, I didn't even realize that the way in which I was speaking was changing until someone said, God, you're really lucky, aren't you? You're living the life. But The only reason I was living the life is because I was choosing to see my life as something worth living. So think now, are you in a lack mindset or are you in an abundance mindset? And maybe if you think that you are in an abundance mindset, there are probably areas where you are lackful. What is an area of your life that you're not enjoying as much as you'd like? An area of your life that you do feel lackful in? Finances, love, romance, family, friendship, career, hobbies. If you've clicked on this video, it is likely that there is an area you don't feel very lucky in. You feel confused, you feel a sense of struggle. I want you to ask yourself, what is it? What kind of feeling do you want to have from in that area? Not what career do you want to have? Do you want tall, dark and handsome or something different? Those are not the kind of specifics I'm asking about. I'm asking about what feeling do you want? Do you want to feel safe in the relationship? Do you want to feel secure in the job? Do you want to feel calm around those family members? Whatever the word is that you want to feel, write it down and then search for it. Not a specific person or a specific thing, but the feeling. Write down examples at the end of each day of where you found that thing. So I actually think like 3 years ago, I recorded a whole video on how I turned my money mindset around. But I grew up being told money doesn't grow on trees, really lackful headspace around saving rather than earning. And whilst, yes, that was really helpful and I was able to build up a lot of savings because of that mindset, it also made me extremely vulnerable and scared to lose money. And I remember really distinctly my computer broke. I didn't do anything to it, it just wouldn't turn on. And I thought, it's fine, I will go and buy a new one. Went on the Apple website and nothing prepared me for the price. It was double what I'd expected and I broke down in tears. And I realised in that moment, money would continue to have this effect on me, this control over me and my emotions and my life, until I did something about it. I realised I was in a lackful money mindset. And so at the end of each day, instead of overthinking what I'd spent, I would do a list or a mind map listing everything I'd gained in that day. I lived near a fruit and veg stand, and the guy at the fruit and veg stand would often give me free fruit and veg, or I would give him £1 and he would let me pick whatever I liked. And so I would write that down. If I went and spent £40 on a food shop, rather than focusing on being £40 lesser off, I focused on, oh my gosh, I now have a fridge full of fresh fruit and vegetables, of all the things I could possibly need. How lucky am I to be able to afford this food? I was living in a studio flat in London. I actually was able to afford that because I was doing some work for my landlady. So I only paid £500 a month in rent. Crazy. Anyway, one winter, mice entered my flat and it was a struggle to get them out. It was a studio flat, so obviously they wanted food and the kitchen was in the same room as my bedroom. I would wake up in the middle of the night hearing them having a party under my bed. I was petrified of them jumping onto the bed and being on me in the middle of the night. And it would have been so easy for me to complain about my life. However, I realised, why is it that I have mice in my room? The reason I have mice in my room is because I have a kitchen in my room. Now, if you know anything about London, you know that rent is not cheap. £500 a month, even for a bedroom in London, is a bargain. And to be paying £500 to have my own studio flat in London for a 22-year-old was what most people would dream of. And so the very fact that I had this challenge of mice in my room was a testament to how lucky I was, how fortunate I was. And so every time I saw or heard the mice, I just reminded myself that they would not exist. I would not have this problem if I didn't get to live in such a wonderful environment. So we can flip everything over. Someone else in that situation would focus on the challenge of the mice. And yes, of course, I had to focus on that in order to sort it. But every time I felt myself feeling a little bit overwhelmed or a little bit down about it, I would remind myself of the good in the situation, the abundance that had led to this challenge. And when you start thinking like that about more things in your life, you become someone people call lucky. the second step to become a lucky person is that gratitude multiplies your luck. This is a bit of an extension to the previous step, but when you are consciously grateful, so like I mentioned, I at one point was doing 10 gratitudes a day for a month, and that does stuff to your brain. Even if you just did 3 a day and you started there, that would have more of an impact on your neural pathways and your way of thinking and the degree of luckiness that you possess than you think. By appreciating what's working, you train your brain to notice what's working more. I realized that I was being quite judgmental towards myself. I was judging my appearance and I was comparing myself to other people. And then as a result, what typically happens is we then judge others more as well. Because we're less kind to ourselves, we're less kind in our minds to other people. And so to mitigate this, I started trying to find the things that I liked about other people. And at one point, I would even, for a handful of days or weeks, would go onto social media in the morning and I would challenge myself to comment on 5 people's posts with a compliment. Something, whether it was, I think that their hair looks really nice, or that they're glowing, or that what they said was really, really impressive, or I really enjoyed what they'd posted. Getting into that habit of complimenting other people led to me feeling better about myself and vice versa. When I would stand in front of the mirror, rather than focusing on the part of my belly that I didn't like and I didn't think looked good, instead, I would look at the part of my arm that I did like. And looking at the part of my arm that I did like made me want to go to the gym more. It made me want to feed my body good things. And I started to notice the changes in my body that I liked, rather than staring at the parts that I didn't like. And again, in turn, I focused more on what I liked in other people rather than the things that I didn't. And whilst at the beginning, this is a very conscious exercise, as I mentioned, you are training your brain neurologically to prioritize what is good and what you like more than what is bad or what you don't like. And so eventually it becomes easy. It becomes something you don't even think about. You just start being more positive and, I guess, more lucky. Diving a bit into manifestation and law of attraction, which is heavily backed by science. What you talk about, you attract more of, and then people start noticing and call you lucky. But you're not luckier than others. You're just more vocal about the good things that are happening. And there's nothing wrong with that. Talking about the good things that have happened to you, and not just the good things that have happened to you, but the things that you are doing in order to achieve that luck. So if you get a new job, the job wouldn't have come about if you hadn't have applied for it. So celebrating the fact that you applied for it just as much as the fact that you got it. The goal isn't to make people jealous. The goal is to inspire them and show them that what you appreciate appreciates. Step number 3 to becoming a lucky person is to change your expectations. You, my friend, are a self-fulfilling prophecy. Whatever beliefs you have about your life and the future changes your behavior. If you tell yourself, I am not a runner, do you think you're gonna run? No. If you tell yourself that you are going to have a great day, do you think you might smile a little bit more than if you told yourself that you're going to have a terrible day? I think so. Your beliefs and thoughts and ideas about what's going to happen, your expectations around the future, change your behavior in the future and in the present, which ultimately changes the outcome. You are not lucky, you simply had more positive expectations, which led to more positive behavior. And even if the expectations that you were going to have the best day ever wasn't necessarily true, the day would still have been better than if you hadn't have got into it with the expectation that it was going to be good. People who expect things to work out take more risks. They put themselves forward for more. They take hold of opportunities. And a really classic example of this is saying yes to things even when you don't think you're ready. Saying yes to opportunities even if you probably aren't the most experienced. I actually watched a video the other day where somebody asked, I think it was a TV show, and the person was asked, have you ever lied about a skill in order to get a job? And you'd expect them to kind of lie or to kind of brush over the question. But this individual said, yeah, Yeah, I have. They said that they applied to work at the BBC and was asked if they had ever used, I think it was like the in-ear piece where you're presenting something but also having stuff coming into your ear at the same time and instructions. And I actually tried that at uni. It is very overstimulating. It is an experience to say the least. And they said, yeah, I've had tons of experience. When they hadn't had any. They actually, even when they arrived on set, didn't even know what it was. They were like, oh, can you help me put this in? I always struggle, because they didn't know how to put it in. And what was really interesting is there was a panel of people on this TV show as well. And you'd think, well, actually, I think at first the host was kind of making it out like this was bad. But then the rest of the people on this show were like, yeah, I've done that too. And yes, it's so important. And it's not about absolutely lying about what you can do, because you need to have some degree of faith in yourself. But the faith in yourself doesn't have to come from your ability to do the thing now. It can come from your belief that you will do everything in your power to become good at that thing. If you say yes to something that's happening in 2 weeks, you have 2 weeks to prepare for that thing. You don't have to be perfect right now. And that is a way that you can get opportunities that other people then say, you're so lucky to have got that. Who knows exactly what they want? Who knows if you can or can't do it until you try? People who expect bad luck protect themselves by not trying. If you tell yourself there's no way I'm going to get that, you're not even going to apply for it. But somebody who is more optimistic about their hopes, or just in the headspace of, well, I'm not going to lose anything, might apply for 10 things and only get one. But it's that one thing that they then get called lucky for. So when you expect bad luck and you then protect yourself by not doing the thing because you think you're going to fail, you become a self-fulfilling prophecy. You do fail, you do not get the opportunity because you held yourself back from it entirely, and thus confirm your own belief. The fourth step to becoming a lucky person is to say yes more. A huge portion of luck is proximity, being in the right place at the right time with the right person. Now, how do you think you increase your chances of being in the right place at the right time? By getting in places, by getting out there, by going along to things rather than keeping yourself at home where there's nobody around. Do you think if you spend every evening on the sofa watching TV, you are going to be in the right place at the right time? No. Now, I do spend most evenings at home. So it's not about being out all hours of the day, but it is about recognizing that if you're not where you want to be, if you're wondering why doors aren't opening for you and you're not getting the things that you want, it's because you're not asking for them enough. You're not putting yourself out there. So whilst, yes, now physically I keep myself in my home environment, when I lived in London, I decided to start saying yes to everything, yes to as much as I could. I'm naturally an introvert, and so that is very much against what I would rather do. But when I had a friend reach out from uni who I wasn't sure if I wanted to meet up with them, because when I knew them at uni, I wouldn't say we massively were the kind of person that each other would normally hang out with, but I said yes anyway. We went for a coffee, and we'd both changed so much since uni that we ended up getting on really well and became really close friends. I realised through my work and through working on myself that I loved positive psychology, and I was quite decent at training, and I loved both. And so I combined them together and decided to film a video of myself and send it into a positive psychology training company, telling them why I thought I'd be a good fit to be a trainer for them. And I could easily have heard nothing back, and there are many things I've applied for that I haven't heard back from. Now, this place wasn't hiring, they hadn't implied that they needed more trainers, but it was the exact kind of job that I wanted to do. And so rather than wait for the opportunity, I tried to put myself in the door. I put myself physically in the email of the owner of that company. And 4.5 years on, I still work for them. And it's brought me so many incredible opportunities and allowed me to get in even more doors and even more in the right place at the right time, because I opened the first door to the whole building. And when I say open more doors, I've been on the radio, I've been put in front of thousands of people to deliver workshops. And now the team is so full, anyone that sends in an email gets immediately refused. They don't have space for any more trainers. So I very much sent in my video at the right time and to the right place. So yes, in some ways I was lucky, but as you'll hear when we go on to the final step, it was also down to the amount of shots that I took and the courage I took to put myself out there. So opportunities will rarely find you when you keep playing life safely and at fear of failure or of trying something new. Openness, on the other hand, dramatically increases the surface level of your life and allows you to create a life that is truly, truly rich of experiences, opportunities, and friendships. If you want to become more lucky, the luck needs somewhere to land. So give it more places to land. And finally, number 5, the 5th step to becoming a lucky person is to take more shots. And I have a really recent example of this. When I was living in London and I'd done all of this work, I started sharing the things that had worked for me on social media, TikTok in particular. I didn't sync it with my Facebook or my contacts, and so nobody I knew immediately saw it. And it ended up just going out to the people that really needed to hear what I was saying. And after a while, someone asked if I offered coaching. I had not really thought about offering coaching, but I ended up accepting that opportunity, and that individual is now a long-term client of mine. However, not every social media post does very well. I actually stopped posting regularly for quite a while the last 2 years because it was a struggle. I was posting and the videos weren't really getting anywhere. So many more people had come onto TikTok, it felt harder, reach felt lesser, and I became a little demotivated and a lot less consistent, to the point where I was probably posting about 1 or 2 videos a week. And every day I woke up and went to bed, I felt like I should have done more. And realistically, I should have done. I knew that when I posted more on social media, I got more clients, I got more speaking opportunities, I had more brands reach out, and I just felt really good. I got more opportunities. I was seen as someone who was luckier. And so 2026, I decided consistency with social media is happening. Content is my one focus, which is why if you recognize me, it's because I've been posting a lot of shorts and a video every single week since the start of 2026 on YouTube. And it started off slow. I think my first video got 12 views. But with consistency, the reach grew. I started the year off at about 800 followers. Now I'm at 8,000 on YouTube. TikTok, I've increased by about 15,000. Instagram, I've been on 5,000 followers for the last 4 years on Instagram. Never been able to crack it. But as soon as I decided that I was going to post every single day, multiple times a day, and I've stuck to it, not a day has gone by since the beginning of January where I haven't posted at least once on Instagram, usually twice. I've now have over 20,000 followers. Now, the point isn't how many followers I have and how many followers I gain. It's just a metric to show growth. The point is that by posting more, I've gained new clients. I've gained more opportunities. I've had connections reach out to me because they've seen me more. I've had videos go viral and earned money from those videos. But not every video does well. Some videos are on 300 views. Some videos are on 400,000 views. And so posting a piece of content is like getting a lottery ticket, but a free one. A lottery ticket that doesn't cost you anything except for a small portion of time. And I have no idea where one of those videos is going to land, whose lap it's going to fall into, who's going to see it, and where that one piece of content could take me. One piece of content landed me in the hands of Bloomsbury Publishing, which was one of the most incredible experiences. Now, I'm not saying you should post on social media. What I'm saying is, if you want more luck, you've got to take more shots, and not the alcoholic kind. Volume dramatically changes your probability. The more times you try something or put yourself forward for something, the more likely you are going to succeed. The person buying 2 tickets a day, or whatever your equivalent is, posting twice a day, will always outluck the person buying 1 ticket a week or posting 1 post a week. So, reminder, the 5 steps to becoming a lucky person is number 1, focus on the things that are good. Focus on the abundance, not the lack, and you will get more abundance. Number 2, use gratitude to multiply your luck. What you appreciate appreciates, so get appreciating. Number 3, change your expectations. If you expect to fail, you will fail. Whether you say you can or you can't, you are right. So change your expectation, your behaviors will change, and therefore the outcome will change too. Step number 4, start saying yes more. When you say yes, you are more likely to be in the right place at the right time, because the right place and the right time is partially luck, but also positioning. If you position yourself at home under a blanket, you will never be in the right place at the right time. But if you go to networking events, go to speed dating, explore new areas around you, you are much more likely to. And step number 5 is to take more shots. Your probability of winning is relative to the amount of shots you take. So you want to increase your chances of winning? You've got to increase your shots. I appreciate you.